Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for, not uploading for a bit of time. Just been pretty busy with life, especially with the newborn, also running the main channel as well. So I do apologize for putting this one on the back burner a bit. But regardless of that, just to kind of give you guys a quick update. Yes, I'm still very bullish on altcoins. Yes, I'm not too concerned at all with the price action in the market. The main thing that I'm looking at with XLM specifically is the fact that we did get a nice spike to about roughly almost 30 cents before the sell-off did hit. So, we are sitting at about roughly 20 cents. Still in a major downtrend, even with the prior, attempt to break out. But the main thing that I'm looking at is like, are we going to revisit the 14.5 cent zone again or not? And I'm mainly looking at where we are at currently, and we are on major supports, specifically going back to the summer of 2021, where we did see a pretty big spike here. But what we really want to see here is a big break above 30 cents if this is going to hold as support or not. There's also a potential opportunity of, roughly 17 cents being retested, which is also, again, a lot of support, but also a lot of resistance. Like, even if we got a midline retest of around like 16.5, that would be great to see. But, ultimately, I'm just kind of looking at like the prior highs being retested around like 17 cents or so. I still think that's a possibility before we get the next big retest of a potential breakout or not. But we still need Bitcoin to kind of play, along as well, because without Bitcoin playing along, then we simply won't see that expansion. But the good news about XLM is that we are still starting to see so much adoption lining up for Stellar, which could definitely support higher price action once utilization really kind of kicks into overdrive. So let's actually talk about that. So number one, the main thing that I look at whenever we start to see like the price action, like for an example, what we were seeing with XLM, turn a little bit negative. Because again, you kind of have things playing with your emotions here because you have such a nice jump to the upside and you're like, all right, well, this is it. Like, we're about to go again. And then you have like the major drop, right? What I typically look at is like, what's supporting a potential future spike back to the upside? And the main thing comes back to building. And we just got a big update actually from Stellar, and that's on June 4th regarding the Stellar Zipper Protocol 27 upgrade guide. And in this guide, we are seeing the key dates. So obviously, by the time that this uploads, we're kind of right in line with like June 10th. And then we also have the 5th through the 11th, the 12th, the 18th, and then, of course, the mainnet upgrade vote on July 8th. Now, the main thing about this protocol and the main thing about this upgrade is that we are starting to see major pushes around the core infrastructure. And the best part is that we're starting to see some core things being addressed, like, for example, credentials and things like that. Now, this is where a lot of people kind of get lost and maybe they don't understand exactly what's being, mentioned here. The main thing is that this is going to build on top of what we already have on Stellar, which is a very performative institutional grade infrastructure that can support retail use cases, institutional use cases. This only builds on top of that and really kind of enables even more feature sets for those major, major use cases. So the fact that we are constantly seeing building, like I feel like we just mentioned a few protocols prior, and maybe it was on the main channel, but it was like earlier this year where we were starting to see a lot of development happening around Stellar anyways. But this tells us that there's so much happening here, from like the building side to the developer side, and even like the adoption side. Like, the adoption for Stellar is what I'm really focused on because it is heating up. Like, we come back to the DTCC announcement, obviously, like this is where everyone was like, oh, wow, it's really happening for Stellar. But I come back to this and I'm like, this didn't really even start. Like, we still have the first half of 2027 to look forward to. Like, we have 6 months at least. And then even then, like, we could potentially stretch that out to like roughly almost 12 months. So we have to kind of wait on that. But again, this is a clear sign that Stellar is an institutional grade performant network that is capable of handling major scale. But to build on top of this announcement, we do have a post over here from Stellar, actually, and this is with Danielle Dixon on business. Now, I'm hoping that this video clip doesn't get removed or muted, because I know that some of the clips that I used from App Business have gotten muted in the past. But we have here, tokenizing just to tokenize is not beneficial. You tokenize because it is best for the fund. Now, she's talking about RWA growth on the Stellar network and why institutional players like the DTCC actually tokenize on the network. Check this out.
I think about the numbers involved here. The DTCC custodies $114 trillion in assets on Stellar. I mean, that's just massive. Talk a little bit about the real world assets on Stellar and what that growth trajectory has looked like and how you see it developing.
Oh, it's been pretty remarkable. I mean, I just love the fact that we get regulatory clarity, and then regulatory clarity opens up markets. In December of 2025, we hit $1 billion in real world assets on Stellar. In just yesterday, June 1st, we're up to $3 billion. So think about that growth, 3x in just the last few months. That's an important indication of where this industry is headed. And tokenizing just to tokenize is not beneficial. You tokenize because it is best for the fund, because it brings the costs down for the fund, which ultimately benefits the retail users or the SMEs on the edge, or the institutions that are actually holding that fund. And then it is that ease of settlement and that ability to constantly do new things. When you think about what happened with respect to Franklin Templeton and what they've done with their money market fund on Stellar, they're now able to pay you interest for every minute that you're in the fund. That is something that could happen only with this kind of technology. So when I see the real world assets already increase 3x in just the last 4 months, it's a pretty remarkable shift.
And yeah, I mean, we are seeing a big shift happen here around this technology. Like, we are watching it in real time, and these networks are being chosen. Stellar is one that's been being chosen for a very long time, ever since Franklin Templeton locked in back in like 2022. They were working with Stellar back in 2021, or at least starting to work with them back in 2021. But after we saw that, like, it's been nonstop growth for Stellar. And even when we look at the last 30 days, like, Stellar has had $604 million in net flows for RWAs. Like, it's kind of crazy, but like, this is the type of adoption and like the overall movement that we want to see from any very performant network when it comes back to tokenization. But that's why we also come over here and we look at the numbers. And in the last like 30 days, obviously Stellar is number one at 604 million. But even in the last 60 days, like, we have $770 million on Stellar. Like, this growth is something that you need to appreciate. Even in the last 90 days, $1.4 billion. That's only $300 million less than Ethereum. Like, that's how crazy these networks are being tapped in with when it comes back to tokenization. And if we're looking at Stellar, the numbers across the board, like the ones that matter, okay, are what we are starting to see go up. Like, for example, yes, we see the tokenized asset value. That's up 36%. Awesome. 2.25 billion. Great. The numbers that really matter for the underlying gas token. So in this case, XLM. Okay, like, we want to see XLM going up in value. That happens when you see this. The RWA 30-day transfer volume up 300 and almost 14%, $662 million. The stablecoin 30-day transfer volume is up 23% at $3.72 billion. We are seeing a ton of volume here on Stellar, and it's noticeable when you look at the chart here. Like, this is crazy growth for Stellar, because leading up to this, like, yeah, we were starting to see it happen back in 2024 a bit, 2025 as well. But up until recently, we are starting to see a major step function here for adoption. And that's what you want to see with these networks. That's what kind of confirms that, although, yeah, we are seeing a nice price jump on XLM recently, and, you know, we are seeing these major partnerships happening, you know, that could be based around like 2027. Right now, in front of us, we are seeing clear adoption for Stellar. And even when we look at the chart down here, like, we're seeing it in real time. Like, there's a lot happening here in terms of tokenization. And even if you're looking at the networks tab itself, like, Stellar is still number 4 on the list. Like, they are a dominant network in the game of, well, tokenization. But even stablecoins, guys, MoneyGram is launching their stablecoin on Stellar. MGUSD. It's an example of how blockchain can accelerate traditional financial infrastructure and deliver real results globally. Our 5-year partnership with MoneyGram is proof that stablecoins have moved well beyond pilots. Together, we've expanded financial access to millions of families and communities who need it most. MGUSD is the next milestone that demonstrates what purpose-built blockchain can deliver when paired with a trusted payments network. This is awesome. This is awesome because this is pretty much building on top of everything that we knew prior, which was, MoneyGram is very excited to tap in with Stellar. And this is just building on top of that 5-year partnership. They are seeing true value behind Stellar for these types of use cases, which is awesome. And we have here that a collection of partnerships makes MGUSD possible. Bridge, which is a Stripe company, which is regulated, the Genius Act ready issuer. MGUSD tokens are minted and burned using M0's smart contract infrastructure and deployed on the Stellar blockchain at launch. MoneyGram holds MGUSD in Fireblocks wallets, which are used to send to individual customer wallets embedded in the MoneyGram app. Now, the main thing here is that it's built for people who need it most. Consumers want stable value, lower cost, instant access, and trusted financial tools that fit naturally into their lives. And well, this stablecoin offers that. It delivers this reality, designed for not for crypto natives, but rather for the billions of people who want to move money across borders every day or don't have access to local finance services. And that's where we start to see that 24/7 access, where they can hold it. It's a stable dollar denominated balance, and it can move globally and convert into local currencies as well when they need it. This is exactly what we want to see out of stablecoins. MoneyGram serves over 60 million active customers, which now have exposure to a stablecoin, MGUSD, on, of course, the Stellar blockchain. And it's reaching nearly 500,000 retail locations with more than 70% of transactions now digital. This is what true potential looks like in terms of mass adoption. This is also giving a clear insight onto how big Stellar could potentially become if we start to see these really scale. Because MGUSD, it's just launching now. So it might take a little bit of time until, consumers really tap into it. But the adoption cycle here for Stellar is, it's impressive. It's very impressive. But also when it comes back to the tech side of things, we've been studying Stellar for so long, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's, one of those things that are so obvious in the game. So I'm very excited about it. And it comes back to the whole idea of are we going to see XLM break out? Are we going to see XLM, reach $1? Yeah, 100%. I feel like it's pretty, when we look at the supply and everything around XLM, I feel like XLM is extremely bullish. People are just overlooking things right now and they're not bullish on the space. They don't have a positive outlook. But if you look at the fundamentals and things like that, Stellar is probably one of the most bullish altcoins in this market to be accumulating even right now. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely subscribe, to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, I'm Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.